This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Good morning and welcome to the Handicappers Report on this Tuesday morning. Seth Merrill of EquiDaily.com, Mike Jarbo of the Times-Union. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Seth. I'm so pumped. I could actually go out to the mailbox and get my mail without putting on mucklucks and a parka. It's wonderful. The bad lawn's exposed for all the neighbors to see. I couldn't be happier. It's time to think Derby now.
Absolutely. We're getting to that time of year, no question about it. We're in the month of April now, so again, Derby right around the corner, but the month of April also means a Capital OTB promotion, the end of the month. And as I understand it, it will be you and Tim Wilkin doing the $500 happy hour bankroll at the end of the month. I think it's is it the 25th?
I believe it's the 25th, yes.
I got the calendar right here. It is Friday, April 25th, right here at the Clubhouse Racebook. You and Tim Wilkin from the PU. No, the TU.
The TU.
That's a holdover. That's a holdover from when we were going up against you guys up at Saratoga, which was a great battle.
Oh, we had fun with that every year.
Came down to the last Capital OTB Handicappers against Wilkin and Jarbo during the month of Saratoga. Each and every day, we faced off in the Times-Union, and Capital OTB got off to a blazingly crazy start, and then it would have been embarrassing if you guys had beaten us after that big start.
Oh, yeah.
But it came down to the last weekend. It was fun.
We're going to call you the California Chrome team next year with that.
But you two are in for the happy hour bankroll,
Yes,
so that
we
should
are.
be fun.
As Brian says on this, come win with us.
There you go. I like that. So that'll be Friday, April 25th, again, right here at the Clubhouse Racebook. We'll certainly remind you as we get closer as well. Mike, big weekend stakes-wise, both here in New York and out in Southern California. Get some of your thoughts. We've been talking the last couple of days here on the network about the big races. But first, thoughts on the Wood Memorial. Wicked Strong. To me, I didn't, when I put my ESPN top 10 together, I didn't put Wicked Strong on, but I think he's really interesting given what is the anticipated pace scenario in the Derby. A lot of speed, so a horse like this that can come from off the pace could be very interesting. And of course, you have the nice bloodlines there with Jimmy Jerkins going through Hall of Famer Alan Jerkins, certainly. So Wicked Strong to me is kind of interesting. Social Inclusion just getting nipped by Samrat in that photo. Social Inclusion now becomes interesting. We talked on the show a little bit about it yesterday as well with Bob Ehal. Social Inclusion losing that photo, that becomes interesting with a pace scenario kind of angle, because Social Inclusion with his 20 points now very much a bubble horse. If he gets in, that really could affect California Chrome in the pace angle. So that photo finish could have very big implications on the Derby pace, in or out for Social Inclusion. So that was kind of interesting.
Has huge implications for him as far as whether he's going or not.
Absolutely. And so we have we have Wicked Strong, Samrat, Social Inclusion, top three. What were your thoughts on the Wood?
I really liked Samrat's race in that. Trainer Rick Violet talked about the race afterward and mentioned that Samrat got covered up, got more of a jackpot than he's ever been, handled it really professionally, and still made a nice late move. Actually if you watch, it actually had to alter course a little bit late in the race too. So I think this was an excellent effort from Samrat. I think it boosted his stock, and I'm still on his bandwagon. I think we're going to have a good showing from a New York bred.
Yeah, and because he is a New York bred, I will certainly be rooting for him. I'm not convinced. I haven't been convinced. I don't know why. He goes out there and does it every time. I just cannot pull the trigger on this horse. But again, he is a horse that goes out, does it, and it'll be fun if a New York bred gets up there and runs very well in the Kentucky Derby. So I have no arguments with people who have that one on their list. As I say, I just so far haven't been able to pull the trigger.
You know, one more thing I wanted to say about that race is that late move from Wicked Strong. It reminded me, that little bit of burst, it reminded me of something we saw at Saratoga this year when Will Take Charge versus Marino. Just that little bit of extra oomph right near the wire. Very impressive.
Yeah, they turned the afterburner around in the last 16th of a mile. And speaking of afterburners, California Chrome, who was sitting off but was right up attending the pace. So, I think you have to expect he's going to be well placed, frontly placed in the Kentucky Derby, but he was early, just sitting off the early pace. California Chrome, then at the top of the stretch, just kind of runs away from the field out in the Santa Anita Derby as the 3-5 favorite. And as anticipated, the lists that are coming out from the various pundits, most of them now have California Chrome on top. Steve Haskin in the Blood Horse said something to the effect of, this is a very special, one of the most special horses I've seen in a while. And I think a lot of people off of that Santa Anita Derby performance, because now he's strung 2 really very good performances together. Opportunity for Baffert runs second, well beaten second, but I think it was a pretty good effort. Candy Boy runs third, and again, points-wise, he's now a bubble horse as well. But I've said it, Candy Boy and Cairo Prince are sitting 16 and 17 on the Kentucky Derby leaderboard. I would anticipate, they're bubble horses, given there are 2 big prep races coming up this weekend. But I would anticipate both of them getting in because, we're talking about, for them to be knocked off the list, we'd have to have 4 or 5 horses leapfrog them this coming weekend. I'm not sure that will happen, but then you would also have to have no defections. So I think the combination of the 2, I would expect both of them to get in, but Cairo Prince and Candy Boy at this point, again, bubble horses given their position in the 2 races coming up. But California Chrome, absolutely impressive.
It's kind of hard for me to like a horse that likes the front end in the Kentucky Derby, but maybe this is a special horse. One interesting stat is out of 77 Santa Anita Derbies, this was the 4th fastest. The first spot is a 3-way tie between Lucky Debonair, Sham, and Indian Charlie, and boy, that's not too shabby company to be behind. That was a half-second slower, this race.
Absolutely, and as I say, most of the pundits are now considering this one a pretty special horse. And I had him on my list. I moved him from, I think he was 9 last week, up to 4 this week, so I didn't put him on top, just because the anticipated pace scenario seems like there is a lot of speed. But given the way this horse did it, and put together a 107 buyer figure. Boy, I mean, this could be quality speed, and quality speed always very, very dangerous. And again, you work for the Times-Union, and so I think you can appreciate this also brings a very good story to the Derby with Art Sherman and the history going through swaps.
And Art Sherman at 77 would be the oldest Derby winner ever. That would beat Charlie Whittingham's record of 76 with Sunday Silence in 1989.
And again, it goes through Sherman was the exercise rider for swaps. They talked a little bit about it on the NBC broadcast this past weekend. So he brings a good story to the Kentucky Derby. There's always some fun stories. And again, over on the Wood side as well with Jimmy Jerkins, being the son of the legendary Alan Jerkins. That's a good story coming from New York. And so we have some more stories, I'm sure, shaping up this coming weekend.
Terrific backstories all around this year. This has, I think, been a very interesting Derby trail so far.
Absolutely, and one of the reasons it's been interesting, I think it's been a question mark. I was hoping this weekend would add some definition. For me, I don't know whether it did in New York, but it certainly did in California. California Chrome is clearly a player. As I say, I only have him at number 4. Most of the list now have him at number 1. And I would think Ed's this past weekend added definition in at least defining probably the Kentucky Derby favorite. If something happens this weekend, you could see, I said yesterday, Tapiture, if that Tapiture won big in the Arkansas Derby, that may shake things up a little bit. But at this point, I think you would have to say California Chrome is the early favorite. And unless something really spectacular happens this weekend, you would have to think will wind up to be the favorite.
It's going to be very interesting for Saturday, May, isn't it?
Yeah, no question about it. And also this weekend, Sunday, we saw the return of Princess Asilmar at Aqueduct, and a nice, $100,000 paid workout for her. But it's,
really.
We've talked about the 3-year-olds. That's fun Derby trail. We've talked for weeks now about what is shaping up to be an absolutely fun handicap division. But with Princess Asilmar and potentially Beholder, it looks like the older fillies and mares will be a great division as well.
Speaking of backstories, once again, you've got a King of Prussia stable with Ed Stanko. these little guys who get involved in the game, and all of a sudden they have superstars. I just love stories like that. Like that's why I like funny side stories so
Yeah,
much.
absolutely.
When you get these few guys get together, they get a horse, and all of a sudden they've got a monster.
Yeah,
I just love it.
Yeah, gives everybody hope out there that you can jump in, reasonable amount of money, walk away with a champion, potential champion, and so yeah, it does add some rooting interest.
Well,
when
let
these
me get
guys
$20 out. Why don't we go?
Yeah,
Why don't we go pick up a
go in,
horse?
go in.
Yeah, I'll go in with you.
Well, we got a couple we can probably pick up this afternoon out at Beulah, where we're kicking things off with a $2,500 claimer. So I don't think we're sitting on any Kentucky Derby horses, however,
No,
in this
no,
opener.
not at Beulah.
And,
I've actually been to Beulah. It's a wonderful place.
yeah, the simulcast signal, a lot of these tracks, you watch the simulcast signal, just looking at the venues, they're places I would like to visit. Beulah, it looks interesting. Fort Erie is one I'd like to go out to and visit. Things have turned around a little bit for them. Things were totally up in the air at the end of last season, but Beulah will have a 2014, or excuse me, Fort Erie will have a 2014 season as they have signed things up and they're going forward. They're trying to lock things up for the next 3 years though, but there will be a 2014 season for Fort Erie again. Just over the border out towards Buffalo, and just from the looks of it, I'd like to go out there sometime. All right, let's shift our attention to the handicapping. A little bit later, Mike is going to take a look at parks. I'm going to kick things off with the aforementioned Beulah Park.
Okay, the first race at Beulah today, we're going 5.5 furlongs for a $3,000 purse, $2,500 claimer. Seth?
Mike, I don't know whether I have ever seen just a standard overnight race on a card get put into the become part of the race card with only 4 horses. I've seen some stakes races like that, but Beulah has been struggling the past few weeks as some other tracks have opened, some short fields. But boy, a 4-horse field, absolutely amazing to me. But in the opener, I've got a 2-4. I'm only 2 deep because, if you want to play according to the form I have here, they will offer triple wagering. I mean, if you want to play a triple, take my top 2 and then take your pick underneath. But I put the 2 on top, show me the touch. 3 to 5 on the morning. Got a master of the obvious here. But you have a horse that came in from out of town and won for a $4,000 conditional last time. 4,000 non-winners at 2. That was on the move to Beulah and the move into the Charlie Lawson barn. That's always a very potent angle. Horse won very easily that day. Now moves into a non-winners at 3 lifetime, but for the $2,500 tag, I'd almost think this is a lateral kind of a move. Picks up Edgar Paucar in the saddle. Things just add up. Show me the touch on top for me. And Mega Senna, 8 to 5 on the morning line. Just on the numbers as compared to the other 2, looks clearly next best. So Mega Senna gets in there. I'm not quite sure how you make money in this race. I think even if you cold punch the exacta, you're not going to be looking at a whole lot of money. But maybe it's one of those where you take a little shot on one of the outsiders and hope something crazy happens and you just don't go in too deep, but just have a little rooting interest in here. But I just, as I say, I went master of the obvious 4-horse field, but I have a 2 and 4.
Okay, that'll bring us to the second at Beulah, and they're really emptying the barn with this one. They have a 5-horse field. We have 6 furlongs, $3,500 is the purse. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. Claimer, $5,000.
1, 2, and 5 for me. The number 1 is Springtime Anna. And this is one of those horses coming in from out of town, moving into the Charlie Lawson barn. We have Gary Johnson on from Beulah Park every Tuesday on Racing Across America. He does the selections for their website. And he's completely big on this angle of playing the horses that come in from out of town and move into the Charlie Lawson barn. And he says occasionally, these horses will escape the betting public. Occasionally the out-of-town form is just, kind of sour enough that folks don't pay attention to them, but Lawson can still do very well. This one, last 2 races, certainly weren't anything to write home about, but I think coming in from Gulfstream, getting Edgar Paucar, I think the horse probably will live up to that 3 to 5 morning line price, despite the bad efforts in the past 2 starts. So this is one of those Charlie Lawson, first time in the barn, coming in from out of town kind of plays, but I don't think we'll get some value here despite what we're seeing in the past performance lines, because coming in from Gulfstream, I think that venue relief will be enough to attract the attention of folks. But I have the number 1 on top, Springtime Anna. Pazoom in the second spot just has some back numbers. The last race just looks too bad to believe. The races just before that showed some consistency with the numbers, and those numbers are good enough to compete with this field, the rest of this field. Third spot, we will go to the number 5, Private Spanish. Showed a little bit of life in the last 2 starts and has been showing some speed. I think in what is a very weak field, that speed might prove to be very, very dangerous today. You know, it's a short field, and even my top pick, I'm not anticipating a whole lot of early speed. So a horse like this, Private Spanish, 5-1 on the morning line, you know, you get a little bit of a price. This could be a horse to play around with a little bit because, again, we have a short field that otherwise isn't showing a lot of early speed. So this horse may just open up on this field and be completely tough to reel in. But in the second race, I have it 1, 2, and 5.
That'll bring us to the third race at Beulah today. We're going 6 furlongs for a $4,800 purse. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. It is a $5,000 claimer.
5, 4, and 3. Cruella Zaville on top for me. And just as a numbers edge, the past 3 starts has been in the low to mid 40 buyer range. And just looking at the rest of the field, some of them, you know, you go back in the PPs a little bit, you can find something that maybe is kind of comparable. But I think mostly recent form and the recent numbers, Cruella Zaville, again, has a little bit of an edge on most of these. The one that is perhaps most interesting is the number 4, the Big Whammy. Had an okay try at Turfway last time. Likes this Beulah surface, however, 10 times in the exacta in 18 starts. And I think you look back in the past performances, tosses numbers that are comparable or even better than Cruella Zaville. So in this race, if I was going to search around to make some money, I might box up the 4 and the 5. And then I don't think there'll be a whole lot of value there. So I'd probably box up to back myself up and then go a little stronger in one direction than the other. The way I like it is 5, 4. But if you were going to flip them around, I wouldn't argue with that. But in the third spot, the number 3, Worthy of Wings, just some improving form and picks up Edgar Picard. So this one at 5-1 on the morning line, you know, could be a little bit interesting in your mix as well. But I think that the 2 that are the standouts in here are the 5 and the 4, and that's the way I see it in the third. 5, 4, and 3.
Okay, in the fourth at Beulah today, we're going to open it up a little with an 8-horse field. We're going 5.5 furlongs for a $3,000 purse. These are fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up for a $2,500 claiming tag.
3, 7, 8, and 4. The number 3 is She's Out to Lunch, and just looks to have an edge on this bunch. The buyer figures over the last 3 starts are moving in the right direction. This horse did return to Beulah after a little wintertime sojourn over to Turfway, and the second place finish shows that this one has an affinity for this track, which has been demonstrated before. Paul Carr on board that day, back on board again today, and getting some additional class relief. So She's Out to Lunch on top for me. Second spot, the number 7, Gold Territory. This one might be the one to catch. There are a couple other horses that have a little bit of early speed, including the number 5 horse who's coming out of another 5.5 furlong race that was a wire-to-wire job. But I think this may be the speed of the speed, so to speak, the class speed. Can't guarantee that because, again, there are 2 or 3 others in here, including, as I say, the aforementioned number 5, but there's 2 or 3 others that can, on occasion, show some early speed. But if Gold Territory can clear, it should be very, very competitive. And then the number 8, Starship Streaker. Okay try at the 2,500 level, 3 starts back, then bounced up to 5, threw in a couple of clunkers, but I think could be moving back down to the comfort zone today. In the fourth, 3, 7, 8, and 4.
And that'll take us to the fifth at Beulah today. This is a 1-mile race, $3,300 is the purse. We had 3-year-olds and up, claimers, for a $4,000 tag.
2, 3, 6, and 5. The number 2 is Power Pointer. Just seems better than the latest effort. Doing a little bit of a dud there. But prior to that, the buyer figures had been moving in the right direction. Nice second place finish. 2 starts back in similar company. Again, that one last time just has the look to me of a little bit of an aberration. I'll look to get back to what we saw just prior to that. Second spot, Nella's Mangus, the number 3 horse. This horse is a little bit interesting because the condition is in here is 3-year-olds and up which have not won a race since October 8th, 2013. Well, this horse won a race in its last start March 25th. So how does this horse get in? Well, races at 2,500 or less are not considered. And the win last time was for a 2,500 tag. So I think this horse kind of sneaks in under the condition in an interesting way. And number 3 should be a contender in here. Number 6, Jerry's Kid in the 3rd spot for me on the venue class relief. Has been well beaten over at Turfway in the last 3, but I think should run much better with the move to Beulah. And I will add, I did not put, well, I have it in my 4th spot, but I didn't put it up in the mix in the top 3. The number 5, I Smell Smoke, and I mention it because it is the 7-5 morning line favorite. Edgar Pacar on board. Certainly has an affinity for Beulah. Ran a well-beaten second 2 starts back, last time seen at Beulah Park. Then went over to Turfway and threw in kind of a clunker. But I think on the return to Beulah, I Smell Smoke will be dangerous. So I just mentioned it so you take a look at that one for yourself. I mean, if you're playing the race, if you're playing pick 4s or whatever, you may want to take a second look at I Smell Smoke and see what you decide. I used it out of the mix, but I can certainly see this one off that race 2 back being up in the hunt. I think the other 3 that I used are just, to me, a little more interesting. But I Smell Smoke, again, a little bit dangerous. In the 5th, 2, 3, 6, and 5.
And that'll bring us to a break. We'll be back right after these messages with more of Seth's educated musings on today's card at Beulah Park. See you in a minute.
I'm Seth Merrill. Join me weekdays at 10 for Racing Across America. We'll look at important races from around the country, get insight from top handicappers and analysts, and preview the upcoming week in racing. That's Racing Across America, weekdays at 10, right here on the OTB TV network.
It's called the fastest 2 minutes in sports, and the tradition continues Saturday, May 3rd with the 140th running of the Kentucky Derby. If you can't make it to the Clubhouse Racebook in Albany, you can still be a part of the action by visiting one of our many Easy Bet or branch locations conveniently located throughout upstate New York. For a complete list of our Easy Bet and branch locations, log on to capitalotb.com. Capital OTB and capitalotbbet.com. The most convenient ways to wager on all the Triple Crown races.
The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right, the 2014 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes, and a seat at the 2015 Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month's contest is the Triple Threat on May 10th. So sign up today, online at capitalotb.com, or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrill.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Handicappers Report. I'm Mike Jarbo from the Times-Union. I'm here with my colleague Seth Merrill of the most excellent equidaily.com website. And Seth is taking a look at today's action at Beulah Park in Ohio. In the 6th race today, we have a 6-furlong contest, 3-year-olds and up, an allowance race going for a $6,300 purse.
2, 4, 6, and 1. The number 2 is Kingliest. And Kingliest it's one of these horses that has a little bit of a numbers edge. The last few starts, last couple, we're up in the 50s and a mid-40 buyer before that. All exacta finishes going back, 6, 7 starts. So it's a horse that's in some pretty good form. And again, compared to the rest of the field, has a numbers edge. Kingliest looks absolutely best in here to me. Second spot, the number 4, Eyes, Baby. 8-5 on the morning line. This is the morning line favorite. And may prove better than my top pick. I think my top pick does have the numbers edge and looks best to me, but this is a horse goes out for Edgar Paucar, has won 2 of 3 starts over the Beulah surface. One of those, the Maiden Breaker, back in March of last year, just about this time last year, a little longer than that, but a wire job with a 68 buyer figure. Now, last time out, won a little allowance event here at an N2L condition. Did so with a buyer that will have to be improved upon, but that was the first start of a very long layoff. So you would have to think this horse could come back and move forward. And if we get back to that number fired in the Maiden Breaker, this horse will be very, very interesting this afternoon. Edgar Paucar, again, sticks on board today. So I have Kingliest on top, Eyes Baby underneath. I think that's the way they're going to come under the wire. But Eyes Baby, again, has a race on those past performances that if it gets back to, will be very dangerous. This third spot, I have the number 6, Chug, just off the latest number, fired a nice 45 buyer in the latest event. Edgar Paucar was on that day. Again, he moves over to the number 4 this afternoon. But off of that number last time, Chug just seems to be perhaps in some pretty good form right now. In the 6th, I have a 2, 4, 6, and 1.
And that'll take us up to the 7th race at Beulah Park today with fillies and mares, 3-year-olds, $4,000 claimers. They'll be going for a $3,300 purse.
I'm going to use the 1 entry on top, but I much prefer the plain one, Chili Tequila, but I'll use the whole entry. And the same jockey is named on both, so it is certainly likely that one or the other half will scratch. But I have it the 1 entry, 4, 3, and 5. I do, again, like Chili Tequila on top better than the 1A. This one comes in from Turfway with some very good form. Won last time out, a $5,000 conditional. So get some venue relief, get venue class relief, get some price class relief. Chili Tequila absolutely looks like the one to beat. But if that one does scratch, I think 1A Whisper Lake has a little bit of an edge on the rest of these. Comes in off some second place finishes. Decent numbers as compared to the rest of this field. So I'll trust the trainer if he goes in that direction as opposed to the plain one. Much prefer the plain one, but again, I'll trust the trainer if he goes in the direction and stick with the 1A as well. Second spot, the number 4, Casey's Cactus. Pretty solid win on the return to Beulah. Has raced here 5 times with a couple of wins, and again, that includes the last start on the move over from Turfway. I think moves up slightly claiming price-wise, but I think this horse is going to fit with this bunch. And then the number 3, Western One, needs to rebound to the effort 2 starts back. Edgar Paucar has been on board for the last 3, and that start 2 back was just a really nice wire job with a pretty good buyer figure. Couldn't get to the front last time and faded late. You know, I think there are some other horses that have some early speed in here, so I'm not sure this one will be able to clear. It seemed to really like that style 2 back, and it wouldn't surprise me if we see Picard try that. When they hit the backstretch, Western One is in front. Watch out, could prove to be a little bit dangerous, but I think gaining that lead is going to be tough in this race. In the 7th, I have it the 1 entry, 4, 3, and 5.
All right, and that'll bring us to the finale of today's short 8-race card at Beulah Park. We had 6 furlong race for $2,500 maiden claimers, 3-year-olds and up. They're racing for a $2,600 purse.
3, 1, 4, and 6, and boy, you must be happy when you're kind of a prominent person and they choose to name a racehorse after you, and he winds up being 0 for 5 in the career and running for a $2,500 tag at Beulah Park. So hats off to you, Bill Knack. You got one named after you, and there you go. I'm just, if someone ever chose to name a horse after me, I don't know how you vet that out. But I want to make sure that this, because this is not the direction you want to go. But Bill Knack is on top. I'm looking for this one to break through today in the 6th career start. This horse did move over to Beulah last time and showed a little bit of life. A 2nd place finish with a lifetime best buyer figure. And in what is a very weak field, that last race clearly looks best. So we'll look for Bill Knack to break through today. The number 1, Romp with Pomp, has some early speed and has tossed some numbers in that would be competitive again with an otherwise weak bunch. So with the speed, Bakar on board, and again, some numbers that say this one is comparatively speaking decent in here. We'll throw Romp with Pomp in the mix. And then the number 4, Paquito Hernandez. Made the move to Beulah last time, and another one with the move over here, showed a little bit of life. Buyer figure wasn't much, but it was a 3rd place finish. And again, as compared to the rest of this field, just kind of looks best of the rest. It's a weak field, so obviously the horses we have in the top spots are not superstars, but I don't think they have to be in here. In the 8th, I have a 3, 1, 4, and 6.
Maybe Bill Knack should have been named Tim Wilkin. That would have been a little better. Okay, that'll bring us to a break. When we come back, I'll be taking a look at today's action at Parks in Philadelphia. Stay with us.
It's called the fastest 2 minutes in sports, and the tradition continues Saturday, May 3rd with the 140th running of the Kentucky Derby. And there's only one place to watch it, the Clubhouse Racebook. To be a part of the excitement, reserve your seat today by calling 446-4010.
Wagering at CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Capital Bet TV, the fastest and easiest online wagering experience where you can monitor 5 different tracks simultaneously. 2. Capital Bet Express. Its straightforward program layout and interactive handicapping information lets you build your wager quickly and efficiently. And 3. Capital Bet Pro, designed especially for the professional horse player. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Each morning on the OTB TV network, you get the very best in horse racing programming. Weekdays begin with the Handicappers Report, where professional handicappers share their selections and analysis of the day's racing. Followed by Racing Across America, a daily conversation with racing personalities from around the country. Saturdays include Down the Stretch, where Mark Casano speaks with the biggest names in racing. And Sunday mornings, it's Loose on the Lead, where Steve Bick and I offer news and a unique lineup of weekly guests. All here on the OTB TV network.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I got a move that tells me what to do. If you don't, brothers and sisters, then you won't know what it's all about.
Missed one of our TV shows? No worries. Now you can catch all your favorite programs online. Simply log on to CapitalOTB.com and click on the YouTube link at the bottom of the homepage. And look for our new podcast coming soon. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this Tuesday morning. Seth Merrill and Mike Jarbo. We just wrapped up a look at Beulah Park for this Tuesday afternoon. We will now shift our attention down towards the Philadelphia area and Parks Racing for this afternoon. Their opener, a maiden claimer at the $10,000 level. These are 3-year-olds. They will go 1 mile.
I'm going to go 1, 5, and 2 in this race, and my top choice, this really gave me an indication that something we sometimes forget is that we think we're gambling at the windows when we take our money there. Here's Westy's Dream, the one, is a horse they paid $205,000 for, and so far has made back $3,000 of that. So can't really call this a very accomplished runner yet, but meets the right field today, has paired 29 buyers, not a very mighty number, but still in keeping with what this field can do. Last out was hung outside in a 7-horse field, draws inside today, and I think we'll be able to get the job done with new rider Frankie Pennington. In the second spot, we'll go to the 5, Word of Honor, who might, the weather was a little dicey last I saw in Philadelphia. I think they might now get a fast track. They ran on a wet sealed track yesterday, but this one has never run on a wet track. So it will be tested in that regard if the rains do come there. Last out put in a pretty good effort at 4-1. Goes out for an 0 for 15 trainer. That's a little bit hard to swallow. Faced 2 of these in the in the last effort and still ran a pretty good race despite having trouble, got bumped on the inside. So we'll put Word of Honor, the 5, in the second spot. In the third spot, we'll go to the likely favorite, El Balaciado, who ran 6 furlongs in the mud last time and did absolutely nothing. But today gets the mile distance, which may suit him a little better, and actually finished ahead of my choice 2 races back, and that was on a fast track going a mile 70. So this one will be no surprise if he gets into the winner's circle today. That'll give us 1, 5, and 2 in the opener at Parks.
And I meant to say before I introduced your first race, hats off to my colleague Mike Jarbo here. Nice week last week. You had a $20 winner in the mix, and you ripped off, 3 or 4 at least, but including a nice little price in there as well. So now you got to back it up this week.
You know, yeah, exactly. What did you do for me lately?
It's the lament of the public handicapper, but I have confidence in
How
you.
quickly that gets forgotten, my friend.
Second race today is a $5,000 claimer. 4-year-olds and up, they'll go 5.5.
I have True Heaven on top. I'm going 1, 5, and 7 in here. True Heaven is part of a 2-horse entry and makes a big drop from $5,000 starter allowance in which the 7-year-old finished second, and today runs for a $5,000 claiming tag, so gets a significant class relief. And also in that last out, if you look at the trouble line, jump tracks late in the race, which means must have gotten spooked by the tire tracks on the course, and that's that must have been a significant problem, and still put in a very, very good effort. So I'll see True Heaven getting the job done here, and also should get helped out by the pace in this race. In the second spot, we'll go to the 5, Golden Success, who last out ran in the mud at 7 furlongs and got a neck victory. That was versus calendar condition claimers, meets the plain vanillas today. Also shortens up to 5.5 furlongs. Drifted out late in the last one, but still got the job done. Has a very good record at the course, 8 wins at the course. Also might possibly get the wet track again today, and has 1 for 4 wins on that. Came out of a key race 2 back, and so I'm seeing Golden Success as having some success in this race. In the third spot, we'll go to the outside, Proud Trick, and this one is really hoping for a wet track. Is 2 for 2 on wet courses, has Phone Trick underneath in the dam line, and Phone Trick was about as good a mutter as you're going to find. So the one thing I'm concerned about Phone Trick is the trainer has an 0 for 12 record with a 31 to 60 day layoffs. Takes a drop from $16,000 sellers to $5,000. Still can get part of this. We'll go 1, 5, and 7 in the second at Parks.
Third race this afternoon, a maiden claimer, 13 to 15 tags. These are 4 and 5-year-olds going 3/4 of a mile.
7, 3, and 2 in here. My top pick is Sportacular. Sportacular takes a price drop in the maiden ranks from $25,000 to $15,000. I don't think you're going to get a price on this one today, but all his races have been credible efforts. Last time tired, getting a wide trip. And this one has put forth pretty honest efforts. The only really horrible race this horse has run was in his opener. He ran on the artificial surface at Del Mar and really threw in a stinker in that one. So fairly lightly raced for this field also with only 5 starts. I think Sportacular has found the right field, and with maidens like this, sometimes just finding the right field is the answer to getting it done. So we will put the 7 Sportacular on top. For the second spot, we'll move to the 3, Just Call Me Simon, who went 7 furlongs last out, shortens up to 6 today, and had brief speed and then just sort of spit the bit last out. Had a very good effort on a wet track 2 back in January, and ran a 44 number, which is competitive here, although not as good as the number Sportacular has run. So we will see a better effort, I think. Third off layoff for Just Call Me Simon today. In the third spot, we'll go to the 2 Trust Issues. And speaking of trust issues, here you have an 0 for 15 maiden. And folks, I I always say it, once a horse has run that many times and hasn't gotten the job done, I really have trust issues with him. So this 4-year-old goes third off layoff, got caught in a pace duel last out, and wound up finishing second, beaten by 4.5 lengths. Not a bad effort, but that 0 for 15 mark just stares me right in the face and makes it hard for me to put this horse any higher than third. So we will go 7, 3, and 2 in the third at Parks.
Race number 4 at Parks this afternoon, a conditional claimer, $20,000 to $25,000 tags. Non-winners of 2 lifetime. The condition, these are fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, going 6.
I'm going 2, 1, and 5 in here. My top pick is Mistreated, who gets class relief today, dropping in from the allowance ranks and facing the $2,500 claimers today. And one thing I notice that's interesting about this horse to me is this horse has run twice on wet tracks, and both times has run what I call like a Z pattern race, where they sort of gain, then fall back, then gain again. And I sort of like that. That indicates the horse has some interest in getting to the wire first. So based on that, and based on the class relief, I'm going to put Mistreated on top in this race. In the second spot, I'm going to the inside Congressional Storm, who showed significant speed versus state breds last out, wound up just getting nipped at the wire, and that kind of speed is always dangerous, especially if the track, which was sealed yesterday, comes up kind of fast today. So we'll put on, based on that speedy effort last out in the 66 number, we'll put Congressional Storm in the second spot. And in the third spot, we'll go to the 5, Nice and Sweet, who comes off an October layoff, also makes a class drop from $25,000 starter allowance. Raced forwardly on a fairly moderate pace last time and wound up finishing second. And 1 for 4 at the distance, has won a race over this course. So we'll see Nice and Sweet getting a piece of this. So 2, 1, and 5 in the fourth at Parks.
All right, we're halfway through an abbreviated 8-race program at Parks this afternoon, so we'll take our last break of the hour. When we come back, we'll complete our look at Parks. Hopefully, we've given you some good ideas for racing this afternoon. We'll continue to do that, and we can all cash some tickets, make a little money on a Tuesday afternoon here at Capital OTB. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB television network.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3. Place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right. The 2014 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes, and a seat at the 2015 Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month's contest is the Triple Threat on May 10th. So sign up today, online at CapitalOTB.com, or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook.
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
May 3rd, it's the 140th running of the Kentucky Derby, and you can watch it at CapitalOTBBet.com. With live streaming and 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, CapitalOTBBet.com is the most convenient way to wager on the Derby.
We're back with the Handicappers Report on this Tuesday morning. We've taken a look at the first four at Parks 4 this afternoon. We'll continue now with their fifth. The fifth today is a state-bred allowance event. These are Pennsylvania-bred 3-year-old fillies, non-winners of one other than the condition, 6 furlongs the trip.
I'm going 2, 4, and 3 in here. And Red Velvet is my top selection. This is a 3-year-old filly, and if you look at the trainer line, you'll see a surprise. This is a Todd Pletcher trainee who debuted last May going 4.5 furlongs at Parks. At that point was in Michael Trombetta's barn. Today moves to Pletcher's barn. I'm not sure what she's doing here, but she does need to take a step forward to win this race off that debut effort in which she won a race-long duel and got a head victory. So she does need to step forward off that. But she did beat a next out winner in that race. So this trainer also has Pletcher also has a good record with these returnees. So I'm seeing Red Velvet as taking a step forward today and getting the job done for Pletcher. In the second spot, we'll go to the 4, Road to Prosperity, who has 11 starts, which I think is the most in this field, and only 2 wins. But once again, if they do get that rain today that earlier was promised, but I'm not so sure is going to come, this one has a 462 mud mark, and it doesn't get much better than that. Has a good record at the distance, 3 of 5 in the exacta, has 4 of 6 in the money at this track, and should be coming from off the pace today. So if our choice, Red Velvet, who tends to be toward the front of the pack, gets a little leg weary from the challenge from possibly my third choice, we might see Road to Prosperity making up some ground late and even getting there. In the third spot, we'll go to the 3, R. Lesmus, who might be compromised by her running style in this because she also likes to run on the lead. She finished well ahead of a next out winner, Disco Chick, last out. Cleared, had several challenges, repulsed them all, and comes in off a September layoff, which is a question for me, but still looks good enough to get part of the pie here. So we will go 2, 4, and 3 in the 5th at Parks.
Race number 6 this afternoon. It is a calendar condition claim or claiming tags, $5,000. These are 4-year-olds and up. They will go 1 mile.
We'll take 9, 3, and 8 in here, and we're going to go with the name of the day on top, Stinking Creek, which really sounds like a swell place. This one was claimed last out of a really dull effort in a calendar condition race. As a matter of fact, in the same condition. And that one got cooked on the pace early and wound up tiring and really spitting it late. But I don't see this one facing as much pace pressure today. So the lack of that pace pressure might be a Stinking Creek's benefit at a price too, is 8 to 1 on the morning line. So we will put Stinking Creek on top. In the second spot, we'll go to the number 3 USS Constitution, who raced at 7 furlongs last time, returns to a mile here. Also gets a little bit of class relief, returns to the level of claim. Has won 2 of 5 on wet tracks, and once again, I'm not sure what's going to happen with the weather there today. And also has 6 of 10 in the money at the distance. Made a nice rally in his last effort, so maybe can make up a little bit of ground late on my choice. In the third spot, we will take the 8, Plymouth Square. Gets a rider change today. Had a decent race in the mud last time. Was bet to favoritism in that one. And didn't have too bad an effort. Drifted out late and faded after attending the pace. But if you do a little archaeology and go back to this one racing at 1 mile and 70 back in August, put forth a really good effort at this course and wound up getting DQ'd out of that one. But we will take Plymouth Square to get the third spot. That'll give us 9, 3, and 8 in the 6th at Parks.
Race number 7 this afternoon, an optional claiming event. The claiming tag's $25,000. The condition, non-winners of 2 other than. These are fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. They will go 3/4 of a mile.
We're going 4, 5, and 6 in here, and I'm taking Here's Delicious on top, who today gets what my colleague likes to call venue class relief coming in from Aqueduct. Last out raced in a restricted stake at Aqueduct on a sloppy track, and didn't do that well. Wound up chasing a pace and tiring on what was probably a heavy track, but stands a really good chance of getting the lead today. And I'm thinking that maybe if the track is holding speed again today because of being sealed yesterday, Here's Delicious will wind up getting the lead and getting a good trip and getting to the wire first. In the second spot, we'll go to the 5, who's going to be a bomb, Joya Real, who was shortened up last time to 6 furlongs after racing in several distance races and also 3 turf races, as a matter of fact. Pardon me, 2 turf races and off the turfer. Last out, wound up trailing the pack a little bit early on and then making up a lot of ground late. Made a nice wide move, and might be able to get the same sort of scenario today. The trainer also has a good record off this sort of short layoff. So we'll put Joya Real in the second spot. The third spot, we'll go to Two Hearts in 1, who ships in from Penn National. Had a nice win last out versus non-winners of 1. Has a good record over the course, and 2 back, finished beaten 7 lengths to my choice, but still it looks to be competitive here. 4, 5, and 6 in the 7th at Parks.
The 8th and final today at Parks is a conditional claimer, $7,500 tags. Non-winners of 2 lifetime the condition. These are 4-year-olds and up, going 7 furlongs.
I'm going to go 8, 9, and 6 in here. My top choice is Brandeis, who made up some ground late in his last effort and wound up getting 3rd in a big field of 10. The second place finisher in that race won his next start, and didn't finish that far ahead of Brandeis. So based on that good performance, I'm going to take Brandeis, who although is 1 for 19, so you never know with a type like this. But we're gonna put Brandeis in the top spot. In the second spot, we'll go to the 9 Line Hall Cowboy, who raced at Penn National last out at the $9,000 level, got thumped pretty good in that one, and may have been compromised by getting pressed early. One thing I like about this horse is it's a new shooter in the field, and when you get these horses who beat up on each other every week, sometimes you see a new face and you can get a price. So we will put the 9 Line Hall Cowboy coming in from Penn National. We'll put that one in the second spot. In the third spot, we will go to the 6 Fly Eagle Fly, who is a likely favorite in this race. Shortens up today from a mile, and trainer John Service has a not a very good record on these turnbacks at Philly. Is, as a matter of fact, .07 record out of 44 starters, and a 69-cent ROI. So, at a short price, that kind of stat scares me. If you look 2 back, this one had a crushing maiden breaker by 13 lengths. Just one with, as the chart note says, complete authority. But the problem with that is that was this horse's 12th start. And once again, when a horse takes that long to break his maiden, it just makes me a little bit antsy. So at a short price, we will put Fly Eagle Fly in the third spot. That will give us 8, 9, and 6 for the finale at Parks.
That wraps things up for the handicapping. We took a look at Beulah and Parks, a couple of the tracks you'll be able to watch on the network this afternoon. The racing, of course, a little bit light on a Tuesday, but amongst Parks and Beulah, you will also be able to watch Monticello, Will Rogers Downs, Sunland, Turf Paradise, Dover Downs, Northfield Western Fair, Pocono, and Yonkers Raceway. Don't forget, if you didn't get a chance to write down our selections, pop on over to capitalotb.com, right-hand side of the page. You see the Handicappers Report link right there, a nice printable page with all of our selections each and every racing day. And don't forget, the Bet 50, Get 50 promotion continues this month. That's going to allow you to log on to capitalotbbet.com, because the Bet 50, Get 50 promotion is for new customers of the Capital Bets wagering account. You sign up, you bet your 50 in, you get 50 put into the account by Capital OTB. And as I say, that then allows you to log on to the wagering platform, the new state-of-the-art, well, new, it's 6 months old now or so, but relatively new state-of-the-art wagering platform, capitalotbbet.com. Mike, another Tuesday in the book. Good luck to you. As I said, you had a great Tuesday last Tuesday, so we'll see if we can keep it going at Parks. That'll wrap things up for the Handicappers Report for this Tuesday. Stay tuned. Up next, it's Racing Across America.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.